Raw review for the February 10th episode of Raw. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of the Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling. Ha!
First ever Raw on this podcast is the Chiefs not being defending champions.
Never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Never happened.
So we obviously had some pretty big sorrow. So we thought, okay, let's hope this Raw's a good one.
And it paid off. It was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we started off like we started all Raw and SmackDown since Royal Rumble. Mr. Jey Uso is yeeting his way to the ring. When he got to the ring, he gave us an encore, but this time during the encore, instead of just staying in the ring like he normally does, he went to the announce table, and he got on the announce table and was yeeting with the crowd when Gunther attacks. Boom, bam, bop. Hits him off the announce table, picks him up, does like the Randy Orton slam on the announce table, throws him into the apron, gets him in the ring, power bombs him once, power bombs him twice. He gets on top of him. The security guards come out. I think he pushes the security guards away one more time, gets another power bomb off, and then he starts taking off to the ramp. And then you see dead Jey Uso in the ring reach for a microphone over his head, like he's literally laying on his back. And he scooches up to the ropes, and he goes, Gunther, he goes, I shouldn't probably say this, me, you, at WrestleMania. And the crowd goes absolutely wild. Gunther at that point is like, screw this guy, sprints to the ring, but Jey Uso's there to meet him. He does a suicide dive over the top rope to like everybody, takes out everybody, right? But security eventually separates these two guys. This was great. It was a pop. But the main takeaway here is Jey Uso has picked his guy. He will be taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. And with this build so far, I honestly cannot wait.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of pushback, at least when Jey won the Rumble, from some people about he's not maybe he wasn't deserving, I guess would be the thought process. But if they're going to keep building it like this, I thought this was perfect. A great way to kind of start the night. It makes sense perfectly. Jey's going to come out and celebrate because people love that. And then Gunther's like, well, I'm not going to let you just do that, like to your point. So fantastic stuff. We finally get the selection with Jey. It's the right selection. It's the one with the story here. Later on in the night, we do get the first ever like match graphic card for WrestleMania 41. You got Jey and Gunther and the falling cards of like the title.
Oh, yeah.
Just probably like it might be up there with my favorite little graphics.
Yeah, it's great. This makes complete sense with what Gunther said last week. He said, look, if you even think about choosing me, I'm going to make every single week a living hell for you. Well, how do you make a living hell for Jey Uso? You don't let him yeet with the crowd for an hour and a half during the show. It makes sense. It's like you have your big enemy sitting in the back just watching you yeet to the ring. No, this makes great sense. Go out there, attack him, beat the hell out of him, and this is exactly what I needed. It's a jump start to the rivalry for real this time, and we have a solid another month and a half before WrestleMania to really get this
2 months, yeah.
2 months to really get this stuff underway. I mean, this feud to me, great start. Looking forward to it. Jey made the right choice. Let's get after it, right?
Yeah, if they keep doing it like this, where it's action pace and Gunther really, if Gunther decides to really take it out on Jey and tries to keep attacking him, and you get the vicious side of Gunther, it's gonna be perfect.
Agreed. We Kathy Kelly is in the back interviewing Rhea, and she basically said that, you know, the EO stuff is the EO stuff, and we're waiting on Charlotte, so Rhea's kind of in limbo, but EO comes over, and she says, you cost me my Mania match because of last week during the Liv stuff and her Elimination Chamber slot, but she says, I'm coming for you, and she walks out to the ring because EO Sky and Dakota Kai have a match against Liv and Raquel. And this ended up being a 20-minute banger of a match where Raquel looked strong for once. Let's give it to him. WWE finally utilizing the guard character, the enforcer, as an enforcer. Raquel looking strong this entire match. Whenever Liv came in the ring, she might get a second of offense off, but whenever somebody hit her back, she was like, no, I want to go tag in Raquel. And that was just the dynamic throughout the entire thing. But, of course, Io Sky and Dakota Kai are both absolutely phenomenal in the ring. They're both over, and so it was also a showcase of what they can do, especially Io Sky. Io Sky would get she get a hot tag in late in the match, and she get her top rope missile drop kick to Liv, do her bullet train, all the good stuff, but Liv would kick her feet up during the moonsault, and we get a bunch of stuff back there. Raquel would tag herself in during this time and pick up Io, and Liv would go to the top rope and hit a code breaker while Raquel is dropping Io. looked crazy. There was a point where Raquel picked up Liv and was using her as a battering ram. And at some point in all this nonsense, Liv caught a shiner. I mean, she caught something in her.
It's not a shiner. It's a cut. I mean, it's a gash on her.
Yeah, corner of her eye was open and bleeding down her face. It was really good stuff, man. Absolutely crazy. But she'd still be able to hit the Oblivion to Kai, but Io would break up that pin. And when Liv was all busted open, Kai would end up getting out and throwing Raquel out of the ring. And Liv was mistaking Dakota Kai as the legal woman when really it was Io Sky. And when that happened, Io would come in, stomp Liv Morgan, hit the over the moonsault to Liv. 1, 2, 3, Io Sky gets the clean win over Liv and Raquel. But what we find out later in the night is that Rhea has now given Io Sky the championship match that we all thought was going to come, but it's going to be on the Raw after Elimination Chamber. So what do we think about that? I'll just go ahead and set the table, though. This match was spectacular.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. I don't know how you can't. For me, this is probably match of the night. Fantastic stuff. They gave it time. Everybody looked strong. Obviously, Io is in a league of her own, and Liv, we think, is very underrated. Dakota Kai is up there as well. Her and Io can really sell, which worked here for Raquel. Raquel looked strong for once, which was fantastic. Her best showing since she's came back. Easily. And I don't think it's very close.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it was really nice to see. Hopefully they can kind of keep building on this. We do find later on in the night as well.
We'll get to that.
You want to do that that way?
We'll get to that, yeah.
So then I guess if you want to talk about the Io and the Rhea stuff, I don't know. It seems out of place to me. Like, it just seems kind of random in a sense. We all know that Rhea's going to win that match. And so it makes you think, like, okay, does Charlotte come back into it? Who wins the chamber? It kind of leaves that stuff up. I was really hoping for Rhea and Io to kind of go to Mania and have that match. That was just a personal thing for me. I really wanted to see that match. But it does leave the question marks in terms of who does Charlotte still pick? Both avenues, I guess, are maybe still open. And then maybe the chamber person you don't know as well either. So it might be a thing where it's really coming down to the wire there towards the end.
Yeah, that's my main takeaway. Is like, who in the hell is Rhea actually going to face at WrestleMania? Because I still think it's going to be Tiffany Charlotte. And I would have bet money that Io somehow found her way into the Elimination Chamber, won it, and then we get Rhea Io at WrestleMania. But with that match taking place on the Raw after Chamber, it just feels like, well, we're going to get a winner at the Chamber. That's not Io Sky. That's going to get a title match. So does that end up being Liv Morgan? Do we get that thrown into the mix with and just have it be Liv, Rhea, and Io to kind of give a buffer? Like, because most fans don't want to see just straight up Liv and Rhea again. But obviously WWE wants Liv in the biggest spots. So you have Rhea, Io on the Raw after Elimination Chamber. Something happens there, and we kind of just roll that into a triple threat match at WrestleMania with Liv, Rhea, and Io. I'd be okay with that, but this makes it up in the air.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go. I'm changing my pick now in terms of, because I thought it was Rhea and Io. I would have bet on that. I'm gonna go with your pick of Rhea and Bianca. I think that's probably gonna be the Mania match. I think, due to what you find out later in the show, I think that you said we'll get to later, I think that maybe opens up some avenues there. I just don't really want to see Liv and Rhea again. So it's more so like you look at that field and you're like, well, Bianca, you can put her in a match with anybody. That's going to be fantastic. So.
Right. I agree. Speaking of the Elimination Chamber, we got a qualifier match. Bayley versus Lyra, Lyra. I don't really know how to say it. Lyra. I think it's Lyra. Roxanne's in the crowd here. And obviously she has a match against Bayley at Vengeance Day this weekend. But this started out with a back and forth technical wrestling, and we all thought this match was going to be fantastic. Ended being a little sloppier than most would want. These two just didn't really have the chemistry overall. They were doing a lot of, first off, the first half of the match was technical back and forth wrestling, nothing big here or there. But eventually throughout the match, there would be, just some big old fashioned like sidewalk slams, Hurricane Ranas, stuff that you see in a Lyra match normally. But they were just a little off, okay? Just put it out there. It ends with a big back and forth, and Bayley would throw Lyra into the ropes. And so Lyra's like back for her neck, hits the ropes, bounces off that. But Lyra still pops up, gets a roll-up pin on Bayley, but Bayley reverses the roll-up with her own roll-up. 1, 2, 3, Bayley pins Lyra Valkyria, and she qualifies for the Elimination Chamber. Problem here is that was Lyra's first match since winning the Intercontinental Championship. So I'm going to go ahead and give this whole thing a drop. I don't think that they had a good chemistry in the ring. I thought they were sloppy. And then our first match with our champion since she won it, and you just have her lose. I'm sorry, I got to drop it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You were able to say her name 2 different ways. You said Lyra and Lyra.
I got to cover all sides.
Covering all your bases here. I was really excited for this match early on, and the beginning part of it, especially coming after that great tag match we had, I was like, okay, this match is going to be great as well. Early on, it wasn't really an issue, but then, like you said, they started to get some of their spots in. Bayley tried to do her flip over, like power bomb into the corner, but she hit the turnbuckles first, and it got really sloppy really quick. You had Roxanne also at ringside here, who is the Bayley, like her feuding, which I assume that her and Bayley are both getting in the chamber, and that's how you build that feud up still. But it was weird to have her there and not do anything at all. So I'm dropping this as well. Makes you kind of wonder what's next for Valkyria and that IC title. Later on, she does have something with Ivy Nile, so maybe that's what you get. But overall, just kind of disappointed with how they've handled that women's IC title. The women's US title, I think they've done a great job at. Women's IC title, they've really kind of slacked at booking that lately.
I completely agree, because even if you do the Lyra Ivy match, which is going to be phenomenal, we're still going to be over a month out from Lyra winning. And she's seen the ring once since then against Bayley, who is already being booked in pretty big stuff in NXT and all that. And I get that Bayley is still a household name and you want her in the chamber, but maybe you shouldn't have put them up against each other then, because Lyra should be winning every match right now that she has in her ring. I don't care that it's Bayley. Like, you need to build the stock in that IC title. And if you have someone like Bayley just walk out and clean pin her, then you're saying that the top card women like Bayley's and Bianca's of the world are just automatically above the mid card belt, in my opinion. Like, you just shouldn't immediately have the brand new title holder with a brand new title lose just like that. So that was my opinion on it.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it is one thing, like, we kind of all know, right, that your Rhea's, your Bianca's, your Charlotte's, right? We know that they're like above the title, but to flat out show it on TV is different. Yeah.
Exactly. So I do think they are dropping the ball a little bit with the IC so far, but Chelsea Green, you're doing a good job. Ludwig's in the back with Penta. He calls, or not with Penta, but talking about Penta. He's calling out Penta, saying that, he wants to do some more damage to him. Butch, Pete Dunne, comes over and says, no, basically, I got a match against him next week, and I'm going to do more damage than you ever could. And Ludwig's like, fine by me, bro. So we're getting Penta, Pete Dunne next week. Probably going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, AJ Styles kind of walks by.
Yep.
Just seamless.
AJ walks by, but before he goes out to the ring, we would cut back to Lyra again, and she's in the Alpha Academy stuff in the back, and that's where her and Ivy Nile meet. So more of that to come in the future, as we just said. Mm-hmm. But AJ Styles would come out and make his Raw debut since his injury. Love to see him. He's got his old theme back, thank the Lord. I don't know why WWE even tried to get rid of that theme song, because it's one of the best. He said, though, I was just about to get my career back on track when I got injured. I was supposed to have a career-ending injury, but I still had something to prove. It was hard, but here I am. I'm back with a long to-do list, but first I need to remind that locker room that I am the phenomenal AJ Styles. When the phenomenal Dirty Dominic comes out, the man, the myth, the Dom, and of course, he was with Carlito, and of course, they were met with nothing but cheers and flowers.
Chicken tendies
from the crowd throwing at him, and he was just opening his mouth and catching them. No, they booed the hell out of that man. Absolutely booed the hell out of that man. And Dom said, things have changed here. The Judgment Day now runs Raw. And it took him about 5 minutes to get that out because the crowd was booing him so much. And AJ says, you know what? You're right. Things have changed. Look at you guys. No Damian Priest. No Rhea Ripley. And he goes, things changed, but all I see is a guy in purple pants. Yeah, that's you, Carlito. And Carlito's like, why me? And then he said, and you, Dom, who no one likes, but I am actually inspired by your work ethic. I do like that, but one thing will always be for sure. You will always be Rey Mysterio's punk-ass kid. And Dirty Dom, being the man he is, wouldn't let that slide. But Carlito would go and try to hit him first, and AJ would Pele kick him in the back of the head. And Dom would kind of pounce on him and kick him to set up the 619. But of course, when he goes to bounce off the ropes and go for the 619, AJ's already there. Dom falls to the ground. Him and Carlitos scurry away. And we find out that next week it is AJ Styles versus Dirty Dom in a match, which will be absolutely incredible. I love this. This is good stuff. Not much else to say. AJ's back, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, just a pop. Like you said, AJ's back. You love it. It's nice to see Dom in with these. They continue to trust Dom with these legends of wrestling, basically really working with him. It's going to be a real short, return for AJ Styles after Dom beats him next week. It's going to be real tragic. You gave him all this time this week to cut this promo, and it just all for nothing.
I just don't know why you would risk that man like that. Coming back from a career-ending injury, and then you put him in a ring with a man like Dirty Dom. I mean, that's like the Brock Lesnar of this generation, man. He's that dominant. Okay, in-ring action. Let's put it that. He's a great citizen other than that. We would have a Seth Rollins interview, and he says, I feel great. My path to Mania is now clear. Jey has made his decision on Gunther, which means all eyes are on Cody, but all eyes will be on me until then because I'm going to win the Chamber. And when he says that, Finn Balor's here. Because him and Finn Balor have a match next week on Raw in the Elimination Chamber qualifier. And Finn says, Seth, you are right. All eyes are on you, but all people are watching is your downfall. He said, we all saw you lose to Punk. We saw you lose your mind at the Rumble after you eliminated. And now you're going to lose when you come my way. And Seth said, do you think that I'm really in your way? We go way back, Finn. We put on shows, but news for you. I have loose ends with Cody that need to be tied off. So it's not me being in your way. It is you being in mine, and I will be standing tall after I beat you next week. This was fine. It was basically just a lot of Seth Rollins getting his catchphrases off. So I am going to go ahead and drop it. These two should be doing better in-ring or just better promo work with each other. I think Finn should be doing more important stuff or more interesting stuff than just kind of calling out Seth and being like, no, I'm going to win. So I'm going to drop it.
Yeah, I'm dropping this. I didn't even think we'd really cover this, to be honest.
Really?
That's how little I thought of this. We all know how the match is going to go.
Yeah.
We all know that Finn stock is very down, and we all know what that eventually is going to lead to. But yeah, it's just, it was it's a nice little filler, I guess, but I didn't need it.
Yeah, that's literally the reaction. I mean, it was kind of just like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's when Adam Pearce would tell AJ that we are getting the Dirty Dominant match, but we win. Then we get a tag title match. Tag Team Championship match. War Raiders taking on American Made because Chad Gable said that by the time he returns from his mission to learn the dark arts of the luchador, he expects the Creed brothers to have tag titles and Ivy Nile to have the IC Championship. And this match absolutely slapped. Brutus Creed would start and he would just hit, I think it was Eric. He hit Eric once and Eric kind of like turned his head and Brutus just starts cracking up, just starts laughing. And so Eric obviously starts to destroy him. But a lot of good stuff here. The War Raiders are absolutely incredible when you put them in the ring with anybody, and so are the Creeds. And so these guys were athletic monsters this entire match. Big, hard-hitting moves the entire way through. But we would eventually get toward the end here, and Ivar would go up for the top rope maneuver, and Ivy Nile would come and distract him. Ivy's on the outside. And when that happened, Julius would actually run over and hop up on the top turnbuckle, LA Knight style, but like way easier than LA Knight makes it look.
Well, LA scales it.
Yeah. LA does scale it now since he's missed it a couple times.
He just full on cleared it.
Julius just pops right up there like a bunny rabbit, superplexes Ivar, and then Brutus is already set up on the far corner. He moonsaults onto Ivar. 1-2. Eric falls in the ring comes in the ring, breaks up the pin, and they're able to clear out Julius, and they would go for the War Machine on Brutus. But when they did it, they got too close to the rope, and Julius all of a sudden appears with a tag team championship in his hand and hits Ivar over the head with the tag team title. And he gets them disqualified. Ding, ding. Ivy slides in the title to Brutus, and Brutus picks it up and hits Eric with it. And they pose at the very end. This match was spectacular. It was a long one, and it's hard to cover. So if you want to watch it, please go find a way to watch it. It's an incredible match. But they got a DQ, but there's going to be more of this. This was a pop.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. We are obviously big American-made fans, so anything with them is fantastic. The Creeds are phenomenal. I mean, like you said, the War Raiders are great as well in the ring. Really just makes you want to see more and more of this. Obviously, I think that's the feud we're going to get. based off the DQ, obviously. Just really good stuff here. And then you get to pose at the end. Like, those titles look like they're made for the Creeds. Like, they look like $1 million with those titles.
Yeah. One thing's clear. Raw does not have the tag team division that SmackDown does. And another thing is clear. Push the Creed brothers in American-made ASAP, man. They are built for those tag titles on Raw. They can do it in the ring. You can have them and the War Raiders go back and forth forever, in my opinion. But Raw desperately needs some life in the tag team division, and I think the Creeds are right there ready for it.
Yeah. I think they're maybe like the next up-and-coming team, if you want to classify that. I think there's a lot of people that know how good they are. They just don't really get a lot of shine, and maybe they're a little bit held back on their mic skills, so that's why they're with Chad. But right now, it's a really good chance for them to say, like, hey, like, you go take this opportunity, you run. Let's see how good you guys can do. And all three of them, Ivy and the Creeds, are I think they're going to rise to it. I think they're going to do great.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would help the tag division, but also the story of, like, Ivy and the Creeds winning belts before Chad gets back, and then Chad reclaiming them and acting like he was the reason that they won the titles could be a really fun, interesting story, and kind of get them to do the Alpha Academy stuff again with Chad with the American Made. But at the end of the day, I just want the best for the tag division. I think that whenever these guys step into the ring, it's just obvious that these guys are sort of like the street profits of Raw, where it just feels like they have all the charisma, all the talent. Let's just freaking do it. Give them the rocket boosters and let them go. We then go to Judgment Day. They're in the back, and they're all hurting. I mean, Carlito got Pele kicked, and Raquel had a tough match, and Liv is laying on the sofa on Dom, and the gash is just swollen up on her eye.
Yeah, you can't see it at that point. When she stands up and she turns so where the camera can hit it, you're like, oh, dear God.
Dude, her eye was jacked up, man. Absolutely jacked up. But Finn walks in, and he goes, you should have listened to Finn. You should have listened to Finn again. And Dom says, look, we're still good. I mean, Liv and Raquel, they have a title match whenever they want, which is kind of went under the, it was kind of just said like really quickly. So they have an automatic title match whenever they want. And then he goes, and on top of that, Liv's already qualified for Elimination Chamber. Raquel's going to beat Roxanne next week for the Elimination Chamber. So basically, we good is what Dom is saying. And Finn calls Dom a fool. He's like, no, you're just being a fool. You're basically naive. And Dom goes, you know what? No, maybe you're the fool, because when me and Carlito were out there with AJ Styles, you weren't there to help us. And Dom goes, maybe we need to start looking for a new member, because JD's out and we're getting a little thin and you're not coming out to help us. And Finn Balor goes, no, we are not getting a new member. In fact, we don't need a new member, because I will win the Elimination Chamber and I will go win the championship for us at WrestleMania. And then everybody kind of storms off and does their own thing here. I love this. I'm going to pop this. There's a lot that we could talk about here.
Yeah, there is a lot that we could talk about. I guess Dom mentioning a new member, I don't know who that could be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a quick, easy, we can push that one out of the way. I don't know who that could be. Maybe that's the person that helps Chad out. Who knows? You know what I mean? There are obviously rumors about that stuff, but those are way down the line. I think the most intriguing thing is probably the Liv Raquel tag title match whenever I guess they didn't say when, so whenever. So that's where I think it really comes into play. I think Liv and Raquel do end up taking those tag titles off of Bianca and Naomi. As much as I didn't really like the idea of Liv being in the tag title scene, and I really thought, hey, she deserves to kind of get a solo match at Mania with the work she put in last year. The match tonight showed me how good of a tag team they can be together. And so that match tonight really sold me on the fact of, okay, they can take those tag titles back again, and they can be a formidable team to really take those off of Bianca and Naomi.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I don't really know how they got the tag team championship match, but it's okay. I don't care.
Dom did it.
Yeah, Dirty Dom. He's just being the man that he is. It's interesting because I feel like that the tag team title match with them and Bianca and Naomi can really set the scene for who wins the chamber, because I'm expecting Naomi to be in the chamber. I'm expecting Liv and Bianca to be the favorites going into the chamber, in my opinion. So if you have this match before Chamber and Liv and Raquel take the titles off of Bianca and Naomi, all of a sudden I think the stock rises in Bianca winning. If they hold off on this match, I think that we start to look at Liv maybe getting involved with the world title match and winning Chamber. But like you said, you can see that these two are both, there's chemistry now. They're really good, and the way they're booking Raquel is great. And I'm totally okay with them being the next up on the tag team championship line. I think that would be a great route. And I think that you could eventually build a star and Raquel out of it, as impossible as that task once seemed. I just think that the way that they're booking her with Liv, with the titles, with the long-term storytelling, you could really make two stars out of that.
Yeah, it seems like right now, at least, we're maybe getting that version of Raquel we all thought we were going to get when she first came back. And maybe it just took her some time to find her footing. And that's where we get that. Like you said, that when that match takes place and who ends up winning it obviously has the implications on everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's going to happen before Chamber. That just makes more sense to me because then you can free up Bianca to win the Chamber there. But who knows? I mean, WWE's done a great job at being unpredictable, and we don't really know which way they're going. So there's probably some other wrench that gets thrown in there, and who knows?
Who knows? Amen. CM Punk comes out. He goes, a couple weeks ago, I would have said that my path to WrestleMania was the Rumble, but honestly, I'm not mad because I'm happy for Jey Uso. He's a happy man for good old Jey. And he goes, my goal is still WrestleMania, and now we know that it's Jey and Gunther. So, Cody, I came out and talked to you a few weeks ago and told you I would stab you in the front, not your back, and looks like I'm going to have to do that. And then he goes, now there are people who are already in this Elimination Chamber match. And he goes, John Cena, I guess you get to just get into the match just cuz. And he goes, I'm not going to hate John Cena. He deserves to be in a match like this. But just so you know, I've been fighting to qualify my way into this match. And so when I get there, I will beat your ass. And then he goes, Drew McIntyre is qualified. Well, this man straight up ran from me after I beat his ass at Hell in a Cell. So I don't know why he would think it would happen any differently once we get to Elimination Chamber. He calls out the fact that Seth might be in the chamber and he has no problem dealing with him if that comes to it. But he then says, I've never been more confident in my life on something. He points to the sign. He points to the sign. He goes, Mania 41 belongs to me when Logan Paul's music hits. Dun, dun, dun. Logan Paul comes out and he is getting the Dirty Dom treatment. Probably times a couple. I mean, they are booing this man for real.
Yeah, they did not want Logan Paul.
They did not want Logan
Paul.
Paul.
We're not big fans.
Not fans of him. And he goes, I see why they call you a punk. I'd have a couple other names for you, but I can't say it on TV. And
when he said that, I was like, oh.
Not a good
line. That's what we're starting out with, Logan?
Not a good line.
Nah.
And I like Logan's heel work, but not a good stuff. He goes, I can't understand this. They boo you, but they they boo me, but they cheer you? I threw you out of the Rumble. He goes, I was closer to being at WrestleMania than you were. And he goes, that was the biggest 15 minutes of fame that you've ever experienced in your life when I threw you out of the Rumble. He goes, don't worry, I got your number. I'll be calling you sometime soon. But tonight, I am beating Rey and I'm going to the Elimination Chamber match. And Punk grabs the mic real quick and he goes, first off, you threw me out of the ring. I mean, congrats. That's fine. And he goes, I totally forgot to mention you on my road to the Elimination Chamber because, guy, forgot you were even in this match. So instead of bringing me up, how about you focus on 619, Mr. Rey Mysterio? And then he leaves the ring. I thought this was fine. I'm going to pop it by a little bit. We'll talk about what I want to talk about after you give it a pop or a drop.
Yeah, I'm kind of just indifferent. So I guess pop, Okay. Pop for positivity here. We're going to be positive.
Pop for positivity.
Yeah, it was nothing really crazy to me. Just kind of showed me that Punk is once again being confident. He said, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. Well, you didn't do that. Well, I'm going to win the Chamber. Well, you're not doing that. So really kind of just begs the question of what do we get for Punk going into Mania season?
Yep.
A little bit nervous.
Yep.
Which I guess probably leads into what you're thinking, huh?
Yeah. So on this road to WrestleMania for CM Punk, he mentioned Logan Paul's name when he was talking to Kevin Owens a while back. Then we get to the Royal Rumble and he gets eliminated by Logan Paul. And now we're here on Raw and Logan Paul and him have come face to face and Punk is showing kind of an overconfidence in his route to WrestleMania. Please tell me WWE is not trying to set up some sort of Logan Paul versus CM Punk WrestleMania match.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of looking that way because we originally thought maybe AJ Styles for Logan Paul. Well, it looks like AJ Styles and Braun Breaker are going to be a thing. So that's the route we're going there. So you look at Logan Paul now. I don't know where else he maybe goes. Maybe that's a night one thing for CM Punk. And night two, he cashes in the favor with Paul Heyman at Mania. That's probably the only thing I can really think of. It would be a way to save Mania for Punk because Logan Paul versus CM Punk does sound kind of underwhelming. No offense to Logan Paul. It's just like, that's not what I don't know if anybody wants that for CM Punk. So you're like, okay, we got to save it. We got to pivot. So maybe that's a night 1 thing. Night 2, favor comes into play and Punk gets another match with somebody.
Man, I hope you're right. And I hope this is all just us looking way too deep into words that have been said and things that have happened within the last month at WWE, which 100% could be the thing, right? But yeah, I mean, it would be a slap in the face of CM Punk for being away for 14 years or whatever it is. And then coming back, and one of his whole goals in life was to have a big WrestleMania main event moment. And then like 2 years back into this and he'd be fighting Logan Paul. Hell no, I don't see that happening, even if they've planted seeds here and there. Could we get that down the line at a Backlash or at a random PLE somewhere else? Sure, they could do it. Totally fine, but WrestleMania, hell no. Hopefully, if Punk doesn't win Chamber, the favor does become a big deal, and we insert Punk into something bigger, something Seth Roman, something, into a title picture maybe. Just something bigger, but just please don't do that.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense in terms of what Punk was saying. A few people pointed that out while we were watching with the live streams, that does seem like something Punk gets. He kind of weasels his way into something. And then you also have Roman getting pissed at Paul because he helps out Punk. That really kind of just starts to lay the groundwork for it and really makes your mind run, because I think a lot of people are still kind of up in the air about what the favor is. So that's kind of the only path I can see. Plus, you could get Logan Paul out there on the first night, get it done, get it out of the way. Go on to night 2.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul did have more work to do tonight. He was in the main event, Elimination Chamber qualifier match, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. We're getting him on Raw. That's nice to see. You gotta give props where props is due. Big star like him fighting on a Raw. Come on.
I mean,
gotta give it to him.
I mean, this is probably we've seen him twice on Raw. That's about as much as we saw him on SmackDown with his U.S. title reign.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Other than the promos, actually being there, it seems about right.
Yeah, I mean, he would immediately start with a buckshot lariat. He missed, but he tried, but Rey was obviously too fast. And the beginning was basically just like Rey was one step ahead of him. He was kind of big broing him. But they would eventually go to the outside, and Rey would do a corkscrew suicide dive over the top rope. Dude is 55. Appreciate Rey Mysterio while we have him, everybody. I'm just going to keep saying that. But eventually, they get back into the ring. Rey would pop up to the top rope, and Logan would follow. Logan would pick Rey Mysterio up and carry him and do a carrying top rope moonsault splash to Rey Mysterio off the top rope. I mean, you say what you want about Logan Paul. There are some times where you watch him and you're like, okay, well, this man can go. You know what I mean?
I mean, later on in the match, he hits a springboard moonsault and it's 3/4 across the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way across the ring.
Props where props do. I get everybody's hate, but props where props do. Rey would have that comeback, though, on the outside of the ring, but eventually Logan would just say no to the comeback, ended up throwing Rey into the barricade, bunch of good stuff. But Rey would come back, throw Logan into the steps, get in the ring, do a baseball slide drop kick to the outside of the ring, hit the West Coast pop, go for a moonsault, 1, 2, ooh, and then Logan would hit that moonsault, which was literally 3/4 across the ring. Dude went crazy. 1, 2, ooh, there. Rey would hit a tornado DDT, and then he would go for the 619, but Logan would pop right up, hit him with a big Undertaker-style big boot right to his face. I mean, I guess you don't have to get the leg too high. It's Rey Mysterio, but it was a big enough boot. Rey would eventually, though, Logan would take him to the corner and start doing the 10 beats. And Rey would pick this man up and walk out Logan Paul and do a sit-down powerbomb. The Batista bomb, his old tag team partner, basically. Big sit-down powerbomb from Rey Mysterio. I was like, what the hell is happening? Good stuff. Rey would parlay that into a 619 and actually hit the 619, the kick part. But Logan would kind of no-sell it, which I didn't like, and get his knees up during the West Coast pop dive of the 619, get up, hit Rey with the titanium punch, and then hit him with this new finishing move that he called the polarizer. It was like a suplex that he turns into a face buster halfway up, basically. Mm-hmm. Hits it on Rey Mysterio, 1, 2, 3. Logan Paul gets the win here. Good match, great match, popping it. And then literally as Netflix is fading away on Raw, you see about 40-second glimpse of the New Day attacking Rey Mysterio as we go off air. They just cut it early. They hop on Rey and we go da-dung. Event over. I am going to pop this. I thought Logan Paul performed really well here. Rey Mysterio did his thing. Main event quality stuff, I don't really know, but it was good. I'm popping it.
Yeah, I don't know about main event quality. I think the match itself was really good.
Yeah.
I think the main event quality part takes a hit when you look at it because you're like, well, damn well Rey Mysterio is not winning this match.
Yeah.
So that's probably there. But in terms of in-ring stuff, really, really good stuff here. I thought maybe we would get something with CM Punk here with Logan Paul. Nothing. No shenanigans, no baloney, no malarkey.
There you go. He said it.
Nothing. We got all that after the match with the New Day stuff.
No, we didn't.
I mean, we got a
we
glimpse.
did, but we didn't.
A glimpse. We know what happened. I don't have a problem
Do we?
with it. I kind of like that. The next time on Monday Night Raw, I like that.
They're still beating him up till next Monday.
Yeah, that's how they start the shot for next Raw. They're just sitting there beating them up.
Yeah,
They've been doing it for a week straight. But yeah, good stuff here. Logan Paul gets the win. Continues to kind of grow to be the most stacked Elimination Chamber match that we've probably ever seen.
Easily.
You could maybe argue the very first one, but they're definitely trying to rival it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think once you maybe get Priest in terms of the SmackDown side, if you, want to just give away a spoiler here. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be fantastic, especially with the elements of all the different stories kind of coming together. So it's going to be fantastic stuff. Really kind of a nice, easy watch here to kind of end the night. Wasn't anything spectacular. Some spectacular moves for sure in there, but nice, easy watch here at the end and really kind of finished off what I thought was a really good Raw.
Yeah, it was a solid Raw.
Mm-hmm.
We gave it 14 pops to only 4 drops, so that tells you that we like this stuff pretty good. It was a B episode of Raw, B minus, I would say. Good stuff. Yeah. Looking forward to WrestleMania. Looking forward to Elimination Chamber. Good stuff to come. So, and if you want to join us, we are on YouTube doing our watch-alongs. For everybody that joins us and also watches this, thank you guys so much. It's been absolutely so fun. We're continuously growing, and it's just a great community. Come be a part of it. At COD WrestlePod on all your socials. Listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. And if you want to come talk to us, we have a link tree in our bio. It's got all of our socials. Come follow all of our socials. Comment on all of them. You can comment on every single post on every single platform. We don't care. We love talking to you guys. Love seeing you there. But till next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Instruction Wrestling Podcast. And we will see you next time.